See children, so today we are going to discuss the first lesson in our third class, that is my grandpa. So all of you are excited to hear about this word grandpa. Grandpa is grandfather. It tells so many stories and everything to us. We enjoy a lot in the presence of our grandparents, right? So now see this lesson about our grandpa. So my grandpa. So and see guys, that about our grandpa, what can we say? I miss him. A person who always had a couple of big round glass. Grandpas means they get some loss of, they lose eyesight power, so then they get big glasses, that is specs, and a blue t-shirt. A person who always had a tobacco pipe. So old age people, they have some smoking hobby, they have some people. So here our author missed his grandpa. So he is describing his grandpa like this. So piping tobacco pipe, sitting under the sunshine, and a person who always told me an interesting story to make me fall asleep when I was child. So see that in our childhood days, and you also, to sleep means before sleeping we get, if we hear any stories, then immediately we fell asleep. Who tells stories to us more? Nothing but grandparents. See, my grandpa is the nicest man in the whole world. Yes, our grandparents tell so many stories to us. So we love our grandparents. So my grandpa, here my means who is here? The author who is telling story to us. So his grandfather, grandpa, is the nicest man in the whole world, in the total world. He felt his grandpa is the nicest man, and he always lets me do whatever I want. Yes, our grandparents allow us whatever we want, that they allow us to do. Sometimes the parents, no, don't do like that, they say, but our grandparents pamper us. So yes, come on, do it, like that they encourage us. So here, whatever I want, he encourages. And sometimes he takes me down to the lake so that we can fish, so we can catch the fish. So sometimes grandpa is taking this grandson to the lake. So lake, you have idea about that? The water, pond and lake. So that he takes, and there he catch the fish also. How do they catch? How grandpa helps? He helps me put my bait on the hook, and then we wait for a bite. So bait means, what is this word bait? So food we place someplace. So that is called bait. So whatever the food or bag we have to place, especially food, if we keep it someplace, that is called bait. So helps me put my bait on the hook. Hook means to hang it. So to keep it there, and we wait for a bite. Then we have to have something to eat it. Up to that he waits. And we have caught some pretty big fish. So here to the hook we keep some food, and we try to catch the fish. So for that food, the fish come to that place now. So to catch the fish, you have idea about that. To the hook we should keep some food, and if we keep that in the water, so the fish comes to that hook to eat that food. Immediately we can catch them. So like that, to do that grandpa helps him a lot. And some pretty big fish, once I caught a striped bass. So that is we have got some pretty big fish. Sometimes they got very big fish also. But once I caught a striped bass, big fish with the striped lines it is. Striped bass means it's a kind of a fish with the striped lines. In the side we have at the wings they have lines, so stripes. So that is different type of fish it is. They caught that one. And sometimes we will go walking together, and he will tell me about when he was just a kid like me. So as grandparents, if we go with them, that's regularly they do some walking like that. So here our author is also went out along with his grandpa and for walking. While they were walking, so he told some stories or some incidents or something how he enjoyed in his childhood days. So that he described. So when he was a kid like me, they sure did some silly things back on his day, in his day, like play hide and seek and kick the can. So some games, childhood days, they also played some games in their childhood days. So that memories, some silly things also they did it. So make the jokes on the friends or else irritate them. So or else play the different kinds of games. What are the games? Hide and seek, all of you know that. And what about the kick the can? You have idea about that? They keep the circle and they keep the bottle, that is a Coke tin bottle like that, some bottle they keep it. And who will kick that fast out of the boundary, like that they keep play the games. So that he described about the games. And I guess they didn't have computer back then. Yes, of course, grandparents' days, do they have computers much? No. So grandpa understands the computer, sort of. Sometimes we play games on it. So now this child make his grandfather to practice to use a computer. So little bit he learned, and by learning that they started to play the games also in that. But now they are learned. So can they compete with you? No. So then I always win. So our other only always won in that games. And here he is pretty slow. So he is very slow because a new thing to him. So that's why he cannot play fast. That's why obviously grandson only wins in that. So lately grandpa hasn't been feeling so well. So grandparents means every day are they active, means sometimes they get some health problems. So then he hasn't been feeling so well. We don't play outside anymore. So when he was not ill, when he was not healthy, if he is ill, can we go out and play outside with him? No. So he couldn't go with his grandpa outside sometimes. He stays inside the house and watches TV all day long in his favorite love seat, the one with the hole worn out on the arm. So always he is at home only. So and how can he spend the time? Watching TV. So like that he is spending time watching TV, but he has a favorite seat, that is armchair. So one arm he has hole also, but still he sits in that only and he enjoys by watching TV whole day. And I sit and watch with him, and sometimes we eat popcorn and stuff. He knows how to use the microwave to pop it up really good. So I also watch TV along with him, and sometimes we eat some snacks. So snacks, especially I love popcorn. So that he also, the author loves popcorn, and this grandpa prepares the popcorn in the microwave. So grandpa habituated how to use this microwave, and he prepared the popcorn in the microwave, and both of them started to eat and enjoying the days. The other night I went to find grandpa, but he wasn't at home. So one night he went to his grandpa's room, but to see him regularly, daily he visits, he sees, but that day he couldn't, so he was shocked. And my mom told me that they had to take him to the hospital to run some tests on him. He was ill already, so he needed some regular health checkup, and some tests are needed. That's why they have taken to him to the hospital, and 1 or 2 days he must be in the hospital. So that's why Mummy told the same thing to the child. Yes, grandpa is in the hospital, some tests are going on. And I asked my mother if we could go and visit him, and she said yes. So can I see our grandpa, can we meet him? That our author asked, he asked. So then mom said yes, we can go and meet him, we can see him. So we drove to the hospital, and mom was crying a bit. So both of them went to the hospital immediately. But for his condition, grandpa's condition on the bed, seeing that, mom started to cry little bit. And once we got inside there, there were people being wheeled around on stretchers and in wheelchairs. Hospitals, if we enter, how they are. Old age people are some people who cannot walk. How they are. How they take them into the hospital. Yes, some people can sit but they cannot walk, means they make them into wheelchairs and they take them, they drive them. So, but some people cannot walk and cannot sit, means they take them on the stretchers. You have idea about the stretchers? Yes, beds with the wheels. So stretchers, beds with the wheels here. So on that they make them to lay on and they take them to the concerned rooms. So that he observed, and it smelled funny in there too, like a cleaning stuff or something. So always hospitals must be very clean. So always they use these floor cleaners and some good smell to get it, like that they clean up and it smells somewhat better only. And we rode the elevator to grandpa's floor. So that is hospitals means 4 floors, 5 floors, like that. Then they went to the grandpa floor by using elevator. You have idea about the elevators? Nothing but our lifts. So lift is nothing but elevator we call it. So by using that they went there. And there were lot of nurses and doctors there carrying charts. So many doctors are there, nurses are there. All of them, they have charts in their hands. So how to treat for every patient, what kind of medication they are giving, medicines they are giving, everything they have written in that. And we stopped and asked where grandpa's room was. So we stopped the nurse, one of the nurses, and asked where my grandpa was. And we found it and opened the door. At last they showed a room and we went there and we opened the door. Grandpa was there, lying in the hospital bed, covered in a white sheet. So in the hospitals, if we see, he has bed and they give the blanket and everything. So his body was covered with the white sheet, bed sheet, and he lay on the bed. And his feet were sticking out of the sheet and he had some black socks on. So, and his body is covered, but his feet is out of the bed sheet only, and there some needles, like that they kept it, and they are doing some blood test or some saline they are giving. So like that some needles kept to his body. And grandpa smiled, and when he saw me, and I ran over to the side of the bed to give him a kiss. So first when grandpa sees him, he smiled, and this grandson couldn't wait there, and he ran away to his grandpa and he wants to give a kiss. So my mother told me to be careful, because already saline bottle they are giving, and saline needles are there to the body. That's why be careful, don't touch anywhere, like that mom instructed him. So grandpa is always glad to see. He feels so happy. Glad means feels so happy. And he smiled and hugged me hard. I held his hand and it felt fragile. So I held his hand. He touched his grandpa's hand, but it felt fragile. Fragile means what is this here? Almost broken, easily broken or injured. Something is happened. Like that it was. And he had fork struck in him and asked him if it hurt. So he had in the hand also fork, needles are there. So by seeing that, like our forks, you have idea na? So that like that forks, that is the needles are there. By seeing that, what happened to you? So don't you get a pain because of that? That he said. He said, no, it didn't. So I never feel pain. Don't worry about it. That he said very pleasantly. So this is how he enjoys with his grandpa every day. When he went to the hospital, how this grandson felt uneasy and he wants to see his grandpa immediately. How he went to the hospital. So that we can see in this lesson. Understood this, children? Yes, now we can see the questions.